Happy Halloween. Leave now while you still can.
Leave now before Master finds you.
Who is that knocking at my door? Who is that knocking at my door? Who is that knocking at my door? Be gone with you.
Hello everyone, I'm joined by my friends here today. Say hi guys.
Hey guys.
Hi. This is my friend Jeremy, my friend Christian. Today we're going to be talking about Videodrome. So guys, what do you think of Videodrome?
Oh, this is like this is probably my favorite Cronenberg movie next to The Dead Zone.
Right.
I think it's like this, The Dead Zone, Dead Ringers, and Crash are like my four favorite Cronenberg movies with maybe The Fly. Yeah, definitely like The Fly would be put on there as well.
Right. Because knowing you, I know you're a huge, big, diehard fan of this, so that's why I'm having you part of this review.
Well, thank you for considering me.
Yes.
Not a lot of people consider me.
Yeah, even though I do like the film and stuff, but when I first saw it, it was one of those films I didn't get it the first time, and after, more viewings and, researching the film, I do get it a little bit, but my complaint is I feel like this film had such, a fast-paced rush production that we're not getting a proper timing with it, because I read how Cronenberg went through so much hell during the making of this film, how the studios were so cheap on him and stuff like that.
Yeah. And you see, it doesn't bother me, the rushed production. I think it still, I don't really see that while watching the movie.
Right.
I think the movie works as it is, it is a fast-paced film, but I never feel like any important story details being rushed, or any kind of character development is being rushed either. Right. You could maybe argue, had Cronenberg been given a little more time, maybe he could have fleshed one idea out a little bit more, but I like the movie, the pacing as is. I
guess it's just me. I guess I would have liked a little slower pace, but again, I respect why he went through such hard times with this film, and why the film is the way it is, but it's a film I've gone back to where it's okay, maybe I'm starting to appreciate this a little bit more, but definitely it'd take me more viewings to understand this film. I understand, think about it. Think about the world we live today of modern day technology, how this film is definitely very accurate and relevant in today's...
in a lot of ways, I think this movie kind of predicted the internet. There's that scene where Brian Oblivion says, soon we will all have TV names. We will all have TV personalities.
Well, think about it.
And that's basically YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube or TikTok influencers, and especially how, what we see out in the film, when he sees the Videodrome, it's affecting his body and mentally and psychologically, and he's hallucinating. Think about how, that's sort of metaphorically for how the dangers of technology, in a way.
I agree. I mean, every time I watch a YouTube video, when I touch the screen, it moves and pulsates. Sometimes my computer sprouts veins, and I've gone into my computer a few times, and especially when I'm on Pornhub.
Jeremy, you haven't said much. What do you have to say about the film?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's got a lot to say about the effects of TV on people.
Right.
It's got some amazing special effects.
Oh, it does. I love Rick Baker. No matter what he does, he always never fails me. That scene, with the VHS tape and the television, awesome. And or even I hate to get into spoilers, especially the ending when he shoots one of the TV producers and
yeah. Well, or you mean when he's shooting the main villain?
Yeah,
he shoots the main villain and all the cancer tumors are bursting out of his body. Yeah. And here's the thing, most of it's hallucinations that Max Ren's having, but I kind of want to think that at the end, when the villain gets shot, those are literally cancer tumors. I've always wondered, is that just what he's seeing, or are other people starting to share his hallucination?
Right. Well, when that scene, when the secretary comes in, he's wait, don't go, and he slaps her, and he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to slap." He goes, "What?"
Yeah.
If
you notice that scene when he smacks her, if you notice, there's a brief shot where it's Nikki Brand and not her.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. What did you think of the character of Nikki Brand?
I love Nikki Brand in this movie. She's she's basically carnality incarnate. That's how I've heard the character described, and that's basically what she is.
Right.
And Deborah Harry is freaking amazing.
Oh yeah, she is. No, even I admit, I've only known the name, but I don't really like have like a full like knowledge about her.
She was the lead singer of Blonde.
Yes.
Trust me, if you heard some songs, you would know.
I probably would. Maybe if I just heard the song, like, oh yeah, I did. I just didn't. Yeah.
She's typically has blonde hair.
Right.
Like, in this movie, it's brunette, but
right. Actually, no, redhead or.
Yeah, kind of a redhead.
Yeah. Because like you said, she's blonde. But I read that she did it only for this part. She dyed it red, and I don't know why. I thought it was like sort of like funny and like weird at the same time when they're on like a date when she's at his apartment and she goes, "You got any pornography?" He goes, "You serious?"
Well, that's a legitimate question. Does he have any pornography?
Oh yeah. Well, when they watch the Videodrome, in some ways it's like torture porn. Would you make the argument this could be like early like example of torture porn before like what we had with like Saw or Hostel?
To an extent, yeah.
I'm not saying this is the first.
The videos of the people being tortured is very Hostel-esque.
Yeah.
You know, like. But what's weird about the movie is, in a way, the movie's also kind of commenting on those kinds of movies. Because even those kinds of movies even existed back when this movie came out.
True.
This movie's kind of commenting on... It's a movie that's kind of making a statement about violent films and violent media.
Yeah. Yet
it's also a very violent film as well.
Right, well, again, metaphorically for like when he goes around shooting people, you can like relate that to today's like modern society with all the gun shootouts we've had in the last couple years, and also how, again, not that I'm trying to get like political saying this, people like are like thinking to blame violent movies or television for like why people are but again, I'm not trying to prove that I'm right or wrong. It's just like, you know, one of those like debates. I don't have the answer to that question. You guys want
the movie's also very much a commentary on because the villains of the film, the people running Videodrome who end up programming Max to kill his partners and start killing people.
Right.
They're like basically a bunch of right-wingers, and they want to basically use that channel that Max Wren owns, like, to broadcast this signal to... The way they're making it sound, like, basically make people into the perfect soldiers, almost, like, because that's kind of, like, that's basically their mentality, the mentality of the villains in the film, and so the film is kind of a criticism of the right wing in a lot of ways.
Yeah, there's this YouTuber I've watched in the past, her name's Jennfier Vega. She did like a good like video analysis about this film, like how like she gave a good point about like the part when you see like Max with the gun. Think of it that like, again, metaphor for like how in today's world how we have cell phones and how like Max feels like without the gun he has like no identity. In today's world, we have like our cell phone. We feel like that's our identity in today's modern world and life.
A lot of people feel naked without their cell phones.
No, it's well, they feel naked without their technology when you think about it.
This movie was very prophetic in that regard.
Yeah.
And I think, like, for me, this is Cronenberg's masterpiece, because when I think of Cronenberg, and I think of the themes that Cronenberg usually touches on in his films, this is what I think of more than any of his other films. Like, this is the movie where I feel all the themes and ideas that Cronenberg touches on virtually all his films. This is the movie where all those themes come together perfectly, in my opinion.
I guess I can see why. Well, I guess it depends on like what you really define. I don't know, for me, when I think of Cronenberg, to me, it's like The Fly, and especially Scanners, because of that head body explosion. That's like one.
Yeah, but there's also a real philosophy to Cronenberg's movies, and I think this is the film where the philosophy of Cronenberg's work really comes through. There's even a line in the movie when that woman that Max Wren works with, like, he's asking her about Videodrome, and she's like, yeah, I've done some digging on Videodrome, and it's dangerous.
Right.
And she says, it has something that you don't have, Max. It has a philosophy.
Right.
Like, I just thought that was a really interesting and very profound line, too.
I also think it's another theme about how like he was like desperate to like get his like views up, but he basically takes it to the far and too extreme and like really like Now,
what do you think of the Max Wren character? Because Max Wren, I think, is a likable character to an extent, but he's also very sleazy at the same time.
What do you think, Jeremy?
I don't know. Yeah, I agree. He's, just trying to, I guess, get to the bottom of things.
Yeah.
And he certainly goes through some hellish predicaments.
Oh, yeah, he does. And I can kind of agree. It's like, I would say he's like a 2 to 3 dimensional character to a certain degree, and he was just trying too hard, but he just like went in the wrong direction trying to boost his views up and stuff, and you can also like make the argument that he was misunderstood because it was the Videodrome that was getting to his head and stuff.
Yeah. This might seem like a weird comparison, but I actually think there are a lot of similarities between Videodrome and the original Hellraiser.
I can see that.
I see a lot of parallels between Frank from Hellraiser and Max Wren from this movie. They're both men who are trying to sort of push the limits of their own sexuality, and they end up discovering something that ultimately changes them in some way. And I know it's a weird comparison, but if I wrote it down, I think I would be able to say it a little better. I do think there are some similarities between Videodrome and the original Hellraiser.
No, I can see that a little bit. I can see they're both, like you said, they're trying to find.
Max Wren's a little bit more likable than Frank.
Yeah, that I agree. Yeah, if I had to choose, probably Max over Frank.
But to think about it, both stories end with that character going through this transformation and becoming something that you can't really say is human by the end. No.
But then again, throughout the film, the entire what he does is not really human that all, like what Max does.
Oh yeah. And what is your interpretation of the ending? Do you think it was all a hallucination and he just shot himself in the end, or do you think he really did elevate to some new plane of existence? Because that's kind of the implication, that there's some almost weird form of afterlife that Nikki Brand is in, and is almost as if her spirit really is communicating with him through the Videodrome signal, and there's kind of that implication that this is going to be the next phase, that Max is going to become something else.
Right, and like she said, after death there's more. It's not just the end, it's only there's still more after death. And I don't know, it's really hard to say because of again, as I mentioned before, with the production, there was supposedly going to be an alternate ending where he's actually either in a hell of the Videodrome, where he's stuck there for. I
heard it was, and I would have to do a little more research on this.
Same. Don't quote me on this.
I heard they actually shot something where you see him in Nikki Brand, but they're you see they have new organs now, and it would have been really weird. I actually would like to see if there are production stills of it.
What do you think of that, Jeremy?
Yeah, it's pretty weird, all right.
Oh yeah, well, that's.
But what do you think of the ending? Do you interpret it as he literally just killed himself and it was all hallucination, or do you think there was something more here? Do you think he could have really been elevating to some new plane?
I'm probably gonna go with with that he killed himself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, same. And probably also maybe after that, that's there's no right or wrong answer to that. Probably, he died, but where did he go? Up to your decision to that. Yeah.
I was about to say something, but I don't know if you want to save it till the end. I was actually going to point out how
That's okay. This is not a script. We're just talking what's out of our minds.
No, I was going to say, I feel like Cronenberg's most recent film, Crimes of the Future, in some weird way kind of feels like a spiritual sequel or a spiritual successor to Videodrome. And I remember our friend Bill, because me and him saw it in the theater, he said that what Crimes of the Future felt like is, what if Videodrome, what if that became mainstream and became the mainstream form of entertainment in that world? He thinks that he almost came up with a theory that the world of Crimes of the Future is the world of Videodrome if Videodrome was allowed to go out more and become the new form of entertainment.
Actually, a good point there. It's I saw the movie once a while ago, but I can see your point there. How if that was a sequel to Videodrome, that would have been what it would have looked like on a bigger budget. If it was, we would have explored it a lot more inside the world of Videodrome.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's a good point there. I agree on that.
And I also think his movie Crash, which is based on the J.G. Ballard novel, even though that's not really science fiction or horror in the traditional sense, Crash is also very similar to Videodrome because it's about people sort of using technology as ways to sort of evolve their sexuality, or it's hard to describe.
I'm familiar with it, but I've never seen it.
It's basically about people who fetishize car crashes.
Gotcha. I have to check that out at some point. I have it on a Criterion, I think Blu-ray or one of the above. I have to check that out at some point. Yeah. Any other thoughts about Videodrome that comes to mind?
The music's great, but it's Howard Shore, who's a great composer.
Oh, yeah. I will say, good soundtrack. I do like the soundtrack to this film. It's really Really excellent. What did you think of the soundtrack?
Yeah, it's great.
Okay, well, Howard Shore has done a lot, like you said, a lot of, he did Lord of the Rings, Silence of the Lambs, Ed Wood, and...
And now, another question for both you guys. What do you think of the villains of the movie? Because we don't really see them much in the film. It's implied that the people running Videodrome, like, there's a lot more than just the two guys we see.
Right.
Like, what do you think of them in the movie? Like, you think they're effective villains, or like...
Sure.
Yeah, I'd say, well, because they're basically, like, really fucking up with Max's mind when you think about it. It's obviously that they're a bunch of scumbags, the Videodrome guys.
I also think it's interesting that you find out that the people who make Videodrome, the guy says that we also make missile guidance systems for NATO, and like, but they also do this. They also make glasses. Like, that's just a weird.
Well, there's sort of like one way I sort of implemented that. Is it possible that? Again, could that just mean about how we've been told before how like television is bad for our eyes, that we'll need glasses? I don't know.
I think that's a weird. I think that's a weird correlation.
Okay, yeah, never mind. Yeah, maybe I was thinking too much into that. It was a thought, but yeah. Here are my friends, college professor and author Dr. William Burns, giving his thoughts and commenting on Videodrome.
Hi, everyone. John asked me to say a few words about Videodrome. Well, David Cronenberg is one of my all-time favorite directors, and I think Videodrome is my favorite Cronenberg film. I first saw Videodrome on television many years ago, so some of the violence, sex, and gore were cut. But what I didn't know at the time was that the TV cut of Videodrome had many scenes that were not in the theatrical cut. So when I finally saw the R-rated version, I was confused because I remembered scenes that I saw but were not in the theatrical version. The production of Videodrome was just as perplexing, with Cronenberg doing rewrites as they were filming, and there being multiple possible endings, and Cronenberg running out of time, so the ending had to be rushed, and then I think Universal took the final cut away from him. Nonetheless, I still think Videodrome is an amazing achievement that is so prophetic in terms of addiction to media, virtual reality, how our understanding of what being a human is has changed through the evolution of technology. All those things are so prescient now, more so than when the film actually came out in 1983. The themes of Videodrome are an extension of what Cronenberg had explored in his earlier films, like Scanners and Shivers, Rabid. But I think Videodrome is probably the most intense and complex interrogation of how humanity has become an extension of technology rather than the other way around. Although Videodrome can be considered a body horror film, right, because there's that beautifully grotesque hybrids of flesh and machine, I actually think it's more of a mind horror film, because what's really central in the film is an examination of how control over consciousness and perception will influence how one sees and experiences reality. I think Cronenberg was reacting to the accusation that violent and sexualized media would cause people to commit violent sexual crimes, which kind of came up again in the early 1980s. Cronenberg seems to be saying that human beings influence media just as much as media influences us. Media doesn't create these dark impulses, in our mind, but media acts like a mirror that may enhance our interest in sex and violence, but doesn't originate from media. These instinctual compulsions are part of being a human being, and the more we deny these primal instincts, these desires and fears, the more they can be manipulated and used to control and exploit us. The more reliant we become on technology and media, the easier it is for those who wield power through technology and media. It is to take advantage of our total dependence and misplaced desires on, machines. When Max has sex with his pulsating, throbbing TV, he's become totally engulfed by both his human sexual desire and the promise that technology can satisfy and fulfill all our needs and wants. Perception is reality, so if our perception can be directed and dominated, then what we see and experience as real can be influenced quite easily. In the film, Brian Oblivion appears to be still alive because he and his daughter totally control the public's perception of him. We see the same concept on reality TV, where the supposed reality of what happens has actually been orchestrated and manufactured by the producers of the show. Most of us only believe something is real if we see it on a screen, right? People take endless amounts of photos on their phones and videos of the most mundane things as if to prove to themselves that what they are seeing is real and that technology will allow them to capture and own reality like it's a commodity. The idea of the cathode ray mission, right, where homeless people are given access to media as part of the necessities of survival, has actually become a reality, right, as many approaches to addressing homelessness in the U.S. and Europe involve giving people smartphones and places where they can get free Wi-Fi because of the belief that technology has become such an essential aspect of living in the 21st century. There are enough ideas in Videodrome for 10 movies, 100 movies, right? Like the flesh gun, that scene where Max has his hand and the gun have sort of melded together. The question of whether the snuff film footage is actually genuine. The conspiracy to use video signals to engineer a fascist social and political order. The idea that a brain tumor isn't bad but opens up the consciousness of a higher reality. The notion of being literally programmed by inserting a videotape into a human body, right? Corporations using media against the masses. I could go on and on. There are just so many amazing ideas and concepts in this film. And as we know, Cronenberg is an absolute genius, and this is his first masterpiece, in my opinion. He foresaw the melding of humanity, biology, media, and technology, and all the consequences that have entailed over the last 40 years. What causes this film, and by proxy Cronenberg himself, to be so important is that both the film and Cronenberg have a philosophy. And that makes Videodrome and Cronenberg not only still dangerous, but still crucial even 40 years later. And I can only leave all of you with the notion of long live the new flesh. Thank you, everybody.
Any other thoughts on the film that come to mind, or I think we summed up just about everything?
I think we summed it up pretty well. I mean, this Videodrome, I think, is Cronenberg's masterpiece, and I can't say it's a movie for everybody.
Yeah.
You have to be the right kind of viewer, I think, to really appreciate this movie.
Yeah. Like I said, it's definitely not maybe one of my favorites, but I definitely would say it's a film I've gone back to. Maybe I've understood a little bit more and appreciated and understood its themes about that I just didn't get the first time about.
And I think you could definitely see Cronenberg's sexuality come through in this film. I think at least my theory is he's definitely working some things out with the BDSM stuff.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, but let's just say that this has a lot better value themes than the 50 Shade movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a different topic. All right, I guess that wraps up the video. See y'all next time. Long live the new flesh.